Hello! Hi kids! Welcome to Quarter 3, Module 3 video lesson in MAPE, or Music, Arts, Physical Education, and Health. So I am your teacher for this module. I am Miss Marian Poran, your arts teacher. Okay, so are you ready? But before we start, please make sure that you have with you your materials, your pen, your paper, and your module so that you will answer right away while watching this video. Okay, so let's start. Now, in this module, we are in, we will be tackling about art. So we are now in arts, which is the topic is concept and principles of silk screen printing. Okay, so now that you're in grade 6, you are supposed to have a project in t-shirt printing. But because of this pandemic, we may not you may not do this, no, because it should be done face to face so that you will know, really understand this project. Okay, this project is really fun. So I hope that you will learn from this, and then you may apply this in your home, or you may want to make a sample. It will be a very good idea. Okay, so let's start. Now, before we move on to our proper lesson, let's first read what we need to know about this module. So in this module, you are expected to apply concepts on design principles, steps, or procedure in silk screen printing, and create own prints from original design to silk screen printing to convey a message or statement. Okay, so let's have this activity. What I know. Okay, you will be answering this one on your own, and I will just read it to you so that you will have a guide. Okay, the directions says that read and understand each question carefully. Select the letter of the correct answer. Write your answer on your answer sheet. Okay, please write your answer on your module, so it will be easy to check. Okay, number 1. Which of these techniques involve stencils? A. Planography. B. Screen printing. C. Intaglio. You may search it in Google if the word is new to you, no? So you must search it in the internet. What is planography? What is screen printing? So you may have an idea. Number 2, what technique uses a screen and a squeeze to pull the ink through the open spaces to print? A. Lithography. B. Screen printing. C. Relief. D. Intaglio. Number 3. What is the matrix of screen printing? A. Silk screen. B. Wool fabric. C. Wood. D. Plastic stencils. Number 4. Yeah, I will move first my video. When printing an image with multiple colors, what must be done? A. Spray painting the areas you want certain colors to be. B. Making one screen and painting the screen with all the colors at the same time. C. The making of a different screen for every different color using the same stencils with different color. Or letter D, using the same stencil but with different color each time you use it. Number 5, silk screen printing is mostly commonly known for printing what? A, brochures, B, newspaper, C, t-shirt, or D, letterhead. Okay, so I hope you have your answers there already. Now let's move on to the next activity, or let's move on to the proper lesson. Okay, what is screen or silk printing and its principles? Okay, children, silk screen printing is the one that if on my own words, silk screen printing is the one that you print something on a fabric, on a t-shirt, on a blanket, anything that is fabric. No, so you use a certain paint to transfer the design to the t-shirt. Okay, we have a lot of it. Here in Pagadian City, we have a lot of printing shops. No, we have the most famous here, or the most commonly known of the people of in Pagadian, is the Mendoza printing shop. No, so they print T-shirts. No, and printing children has a lot of varieties. Now we have the one using paint. We also have the one using like iron. No, so in this lesson we will just be learning about screen silk printing. Okay, let's move on. Silk screen printing is one of the most popular printing techniques. Yes, most popular, and is the most used by companies. Letter printing designs onto products of different sizes and materials. It is mainly used printing images and designs on t-shirts, tote bag, paper and wood, ceramics, and other materials. There are different types of silk screen printing depending on their own and the printing process used among them. We can find serigraphy for the graphic design sector, serigraphy for the art sector, and textile printing, which is what interests us most. Okay. In spite of its craftsmanship in recent years, silk screen printing has become more modern, and there is now ink and machinery available that enables us to obtain result of super fine quality. For this reason, nowadays there are more companies that decided to opt for silk screen printing when creating t-shirts and other items. Yes, children, if you have observed, no, there are a lot of techniques now, no, to have to be able to have a design on your shirts, no, the one that you are wearing. How does that design transfer? No, if you are curious about your clothes, how does this design transferred in a fabric in my shirt? No, so there are a lot of processes. Okay, there are a lot of varieties. Screen printing consists of 5 elements, namely screen printing plate, scraper, ink, printing station, and substrate. Okay, screen printing is the basic principle. The use of screen printing plate, graphic part of the network through the ink, non-graphic part of the mesh, impermeable ink for printing. Contrast and harmony is important in printmaking. Contrast creates space and difference between elements in your design. Your background needs to be significantly different from the color of your elements so they work harmoniously together and are readable. Harmony in art overall is achieved when elements of an artwork come together in a unified way. It is definitely not monotony, and it is that perfect pairing of the two. Okay, for example, children, when you want to have when you want to print a t-shirt, no, when you want to print a design on your t-shirt, you have to think first of the color that you are going to have. For example, the color of your shirt is white. So any color could be, so white is a light color, right? So you have to think of a color, of the design of the color. It should be more darker, no, more darker than white. So you may have green, blue, red, black, yes, of course, violet, no, dark, red, orange, more darker. But yellow may also be, yellow is okay, but it is still a light color, so it may not, the image on your t-shirt may not be readable from afar, no. So I suggest that you use darker colors in your designs if your shirt, if the color of your shirt is light, no, like white, yellow, like that one. But if your t-shirt or your shirt's color is dark, like black, so you may not use black for the design because it will not be readable anymore. So you may use white, yellow, the one that's light colors, no, that can be readable from afar, that is not a contrast of black. So you may have light blue, yellow, light yellow, white. White is the best option for black. Okay, you may also, for in your age, you want a very catchy color. You may use neon because neon colors are available in the neon colors are available in the paint that we are going to use in silk screen printing. Okay, so let's move to the next part. Okay, you may see in here images of the materials that are needed in silk screen printing. So let's have first the blue part. Yes, the one that's the big part, this one, children. Okay, this one is where you're going to place your shirt when you are going to print. This material is called the squeegee, no, or the scraper, the one that you're going to scrape the paint. You're going to use to scrape the paint to spread it on the surface or on the t-shirt. Okay, next is a tape. Yes, tape is very important in silk screen printing so that your design will not, it will be put on the side of the screen so that the design will not move while spreading the paint, and also so that the paint will not, to avoid ano bang tawag dyan, para hindi tumagos yung paint sa ilalim. You have to use a tape to secure the other spaces that are not going to have, or that are not going, are not the space that you're not going to put a design. Okay, next is the t-shirt, of course. So you see, mostly the common color t-shirts that are used in silk screen are red and I mean black and white. Also, we are going to use this one, children, is what we call the silk screen. Okay, silk screen, children, you may make your own silk screen, no? You just have to buy wood, and then, ano yan, gagamitan mo lang ng gun tucker if you have a gun tucker at your home. You may ask your papa, your uncle, your kuya, your tito to make you one. And then you're going to buy a mesh. No, you can buy it in a hardware or in a clothing store. I mean, yung may nagbebenta ng mga tela. There, you can buy that one. But to make your life easier, children, if you really want not to make, to try silk screen printing, silk screen is available in the market, ready-made, no? So that hindi na kayo mahirapan na. It is already, you can buy this already in the market. Here in Pagadian, my students before they bought their silk screen at the beam, no? In the beam, they also have the squeegee already and also the paint. And then children, yes, speaking of paint, paint is very important. So as I've said earlier, there is a certain paint for fabric. So this is called the textile paint. Okay, it's called again a textile paint. Now, textile paint is the one that you are going to use for silk screen printing. Now, there are famous or known brands, common brands for textile paint, which is the Tulco. No, it is very, very common in the market. Okay, it can be bought in a hardware or yes, in the beam there is also they also have the Tulco paint. Okay, and we also have the emulsion here because in this topic, it is using an emulsion, no? But in my lesson before children, no, in my students before, I did not let them use emulsion because it is too time consuming and it is not child friendly. So I let them have the stenciling. So they make their own design. No, if really it if it is really not pandemic, you have already this project with me. So they make their own design, no, using a paper, just a bond paper. They print it. They search their designs in Google and then print it out in a bond paper, and then they using a cutter. They cut out the design, and then that's it. They put it in the silk screen, and then they have their own design now, not using emulsion. Okay, so also we need here a rug. Yes, basahan. Because we are using paint, so we need to avoid mess, no? So we need a rug. And then also water. Okay, so let's move on. Now in this image, as you can see, the question says, what are the benefits of silk screen printing? Yes, you can see children in the picture. Just look at the picture. That's how you use the squeegee, and this is the silk screen. See? Okay, what are the benefits of silk screen printing? Number one, excellent quality price ratio for large print runs. Yes, this process is very cheap, the cheapest process or technique in printing t-shirts. Perfect color reproduction, durability of personalized items, printouts that is resistant to many washing procedure. Silk screen printing is recommended for design up to 4-spot color. For example, logo, parouses, and simple graphic designs for short runs and more complex printouts such as photographs or design with gradations. Digital printing is recommended. As I've said earlier, children, this topic is using an emulsion. Now, an emulsion, children, if you are going to use an emulsion, the design will didikit yan siya sa silk screen. So, yung design, para siyang magta-transfer muna siya sa silk screen no, using emulsion. So, using this technique, you can have, as was said earlier, as I've read earlier, no, you can use different colors on this technique. But in my case before, in my lesson, in my project before with my students, with my old students, no, we did not use emulsion, so we just stick to one color. So because it is very risky to add another color on the t-shirt, because it takes a lot of time to air dry the first design before you add another color. So you have to wait to let the first design to dry, the paint to dry before you add another color. And also the silk screen is already have the other color, so you have to wash it again, and then it is very magulo, no, in short, magulo. That's why we stick to just one color. In this technique, emulsion, you can have up to 4 colors. So this is the advantage of using an emulsion. You can have a very nice design, no, on your shirt. Okay, let's move on. What's more? Now, what is stencil? Okay, ma'am, ano ba yung stencil na sinasabi mo, ma'am? Okay, let's understand this more. It means of making prints by creating a raised design on a flat surface. The design is inked or covered with color and stamped on paper or other surfaces. Okay, if you have there a YouTube, you may search, children, about stencil. Okay, what is stenciling? In the visual arts, a technique of reproduction designs by passing ink or paint over holes cut in cardboard or metal onto the surface to be decorated. So yan yung ginawa ng mga students ko before when they have to make their own design. No? They have the stenciling process. Okay, what are the materials needed for silk screen printing? First, blank silk screen or pre-stretched 110 mesh frame. Okay, so as you have watched the previous slide, no, I have shown you the materials in one picture. The silk screen. So as I've said before, you can buy it ready-made in the stores. It's just available in the market. Transparency paper for laser jet printing. Photo emulsion. 150 watt light bulb. Squeegee. Ink or the textile paint. Blank canvas. Okay. What we mean by blank canvas, children, is the one like t-shirt where you're going to transfer your design. So in this topic, we are going to use the canvas that we're going to use is a t-shirt. Or you can have also, it can also be poster, mouse pads. Okay, and we're also going to use rags to avoid mess or to clean the mess that you're going to make on your project area. Okay, now let's tackle the steps of silk screen. Okay, number 1, the design is created. The printer takes the design they want to create on their finished product. The prints and prints it out onto a transparent acetate film will be used to create the stencil. Now, on this process, children, it is said that you're going to use an acetate film, no? It is where your design is going to be before transferring it to your t-shirt. In my previous, from my previous class, as I've said before, they have their designs. They just search it on Google, no? Those were the days that they really like BTS, no? The what do you call it? The logo of BTS. You were grade 4 on if you have observed when you were still in grade 4 children, I have been giving these projects to my grade 6 students. No, so they have their own design. They search it on Google and then print it out, and then they make it. They have their cutter and then cut the design on the paper. So that is where the design is created. Okay, next, number 2. Next step is the screen is prepared. Yes, the printer will choose a mesh screen to suit the complexity of the design and the texture of the fabric being printed. The mesh screen is then coated with a layer of light, creative emulsion, which will harden, then develop under bright light. So this is the process of using an emulsion, children. Okay. So you see, using emulsion, the design is already transferred on the silk screen. So this is the design in the picture, the example. Okay, next. The emulsion is exposed. Yes, you see. Acetate featuring the design is then laid onto the emulsion-coated screen, and the whole thing is exposed to a very bright light. The light hardens the emulsions. That's why we needed a bulb earlier from the materials that are shown earlier from the previous slide, no? It said one of the materials is a bulb because the light hardens the emulsion. So the parts of the screens which are covered by the design remain in liquid form. If the final design is going to include more than one color, then a separate screen must be used to apply each layer of ink. To create multicolored products, the printer must use this skill to design each stencil and line them up perfectly to ensure the final design is seamless. So when you want to have multiple colors on your project, then you will have more, you will need more materials, as it said. You see, because you have to prepare another design, design that is, because you have to put another one, that's what it said. So it's a bit complicated when you use that, when you're going to have multiple colors on this project. Okay, next, number 4, the emulsion is washed off. Okay, after exposing it to the light and when it hardens, the emulsion is washed off, creating the stencil. So you have there the stencil already. After the screen has been exposed for a set time, any unhardened emulsion is then carefully rinsed away. This leaves a clear imprint of the design on the screen for the ink to pass through. The screen is then dried, and here, printer will make necessary touch-ups or corrections to make the imprint as accurate as possible to the original. The stencil is now ready to be used. Okay. Number 5, the item is prepared for print. So when your silk screen is already done, then If the emulsion process is successful, then you can now print your design. The screen is then placed on the printing press. Okay, so the blue material earlier is called the printing press. Yeah, that's where you put the canvas or your shirt. The item or garment being printed is laid down flat onto the printing board underneath the screen. The ink is pressed through the screen onto used item. Okay, so you can see it's using a shirt. On the picture, the screen is lowered down into the printing board. Ink is added to the top of end of the screen. Children, if you are confused, ink or paint, that is ink or paint or textile paint. The ink along the full length of the screen. This presses the ink through the open areas of the stencil, imprinting the design on the product underneath. If the printer is creating multiple items, then the screen is raised and a new garment is placed onto the printing board. The process is repeated. Once all the items have been printed and the stencil has served its purpose, the emulsion is removed using a special washing fluid so the mesh can be reversed to create new stencils. Yes. If you want to have another design and you're using emulsion, then you have to have the special washing fluid because emulsion cannot be washed out just by using water or with even if you use with soap. No, so it has a special washing fluid to take out the emulsion so that your skill screen can be used again for another design. Okay, let's move on to the next step. The product is dried, checked, and finished. The printed product passed through a dryer who cures the ink and creates a smooth, color-fast finish. The final product will be checked and washed thoroughly to remove any residue before being passed on to the new owner. So the picture shows the final product of the printed t-shirt. No? It is a printed t-shirt with a design on it using an emulsion. Okay, so in my case, before children, drying a product is very easy. You just have to put a hanger on it and then let it dry outside. It can be dried through air, through the heat of the sun, no? So we don't need to have a dryer to let the ink dry. So it is very, very easy. Okay, so that's it. Those are the 7 steps in silk screen printing. So I hope you understood it, children. Okay, let's have the activity now. So the direction says, name the different steps in making the silk screen printing using the graphic organizer below. Do it on your answer sheet. Okay, so you have there seven empty boxes. So you have to write the 7 steps in silk screen printing. When we say steps, children, so you have to write the first step on the first box. It will be marked wrong if you will put the first step on the other box or on the other number. It should be sequenced. Okay, so please answer it on your module and please avoid erasures so that it will be easy to check. Okay, next activity, we have I can see a caterpillar on this one. The direction says, look at the caterpillar below. Enumerate the different materials used for silk screen printing. Okay, so it is asking for the materials used in silk screen printing. Write it on the body of the caterpillar. Okay, so Again, children, avoid erasure so that it will be easy for us to check your modules. Okay, next. In what I have learned, let us summarize the important points you have learned from this module. Answer the following questions in a paragraph form. Write your answer on your answer sheet. Okay, you may write it on your module on the page, on this page, or you may, if your answer is too long, then you may use a separate sheet. But make sure to insert the paper on this page para hindi na maghahanap pa kung nasaan yung answers nyo dito. Okay, number 1, what are the benefits of silkscreen printing? Explain briefly. Number 2, what are the steps on making silkscreen printing? And enumerate. Okay, very easy, no? Okay, let's have, now you are ready for the assessment. Okay, this time, read and understand each question carefully. Select the letter of the correct answer. Write your answer in your answer sheet. Okay, so please answer this one on your own. And remember, you may circle your answer on this or write your answer beside the number. Okay, number 1, screen printing is most commonly known for printing what? A, brochures, B, newspapers, C, wood, D, plastic pencils. Number 2, another name for serigraphy. So have you Googled it, children? So what is the other name for serigraphy? A, offset, B, flexo, C, screen printing, or D, silk screen? What is the matrix of screen printing? A, silk screen, B, wool, C, wood, D, plastic stencils. Number 4, what is silk screen printing best suited for? A, mass production of prints on paper, B, production of images with areas of uniform color, C, inexpensive production of prints, or D, inefficient silk printing. Number 5, what techniques use a screen and a squeegee to pull the ink through the open spaces to print? A, lithography, B, relief, C, screen printing, or D, intaglio? Number 6, which of these techniques involves, what is this, children? Involves screens, I think. Okay, A, planography, B, screen printing, C, intaglio, D, relief. Number 7, when printing an image with multiple colors, what must be done? A, spray painting the areas you want certain colors to be. B, making one screen and painting the screen with all the colors at the same time. C, the making of different screen for every different color. D, using the same stencils but with a different color each time you use it. Number 8, what is a stencil? A means of making prints by creating raised design on a flat surface. The design is inked or covered with color and stamped on paper or another surface. B, something used for tracing objects, shapes, or forms. C, a printing process by which areas are blocked out to keep ink from non-hyphen image. C, using printing with different colors. Number 9, what will remain blank in screen printing? A, the acid-resistant ground. B, the uncut portion of the stencil. C, the cut portion of the stencil. D, 1/2 portion of the uncut stencil. Number 10, what is not possible in silk screen? A, using the color blue. B, shading. C, adding 6 plus layers. D, using the color red. Okay, so I hope you have your answers there already. Make sure your answers are all correct to have a big score on this module. Okay, so that's it, children. I hope you enjoyed this lesson with me. Again, I'm Miss Marian Jean Poran, your arts teacher for this module. Thank you and goodbye. So I hope to see you on the next lesson. Bye.